Okay, good morning, class. And thank you very much for logging in. Please kindly go to the chat room and type Y if you can hear me, N if you can't hear me. Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. That's good feedback. Okay, chapter 2 is quite short. We are going to look at components of a secure system, and thereafter we will have a tutorial session that I will take you through. By end of this class, we'll want to look at some key core basics about what security is, characteristics of information. We will also be able to look at the key core concepts of security, which are confidentiality, integrity, and availability. This will then be followed by components of an information system, which we've covered and which you've done even before in other previous years. We also look at security attacks, key core ways of classifying them, the passive and active attacks, security services and their categories, a little bit of network security, the challenges, key core terminologies, vulnerabilities, which are exactly the same as the attacks and classifications. However, here we will add on 2 more security attacks. In addition to passive and active, we will add the inside and outside attackers. We look at our taxonomy of security. We'll wind up by looking at the trends and the losses. Then finally, what strategies do we set as security experts on how to secure or how to prevent any hackers from attacking a system? Okay. Okay, so I'm keen to proceed on a quick overview. What do we term as computer security? We look at what is important within here. The wordings are quite too many, but it's the protection afforded to an automated information system to attain applicable objectives of preserving the integrity, availability, and confidentiality of the information system resources. And of course, we'll see those other components: hardware, software, firmware, data, information, and even telecommunication. These are the core computer security or information system resources that we will look at, or the components. So let's try and look at this definition a little bit closer. It's basically trying to protect an information system. So I'm going to highlight for you what our keywords are. The protection of our information system by preserving. What are we preserving? It's the CIA. We had looked at CIA. And where we are saying that when we preserve the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of any system, that is what guides us in seeing that, yes, we are now good to go. And what is it? It's because of the information resources that you'd want to see that whatever resource, a moment, please. So in our definition of computer security, it's basically the protection of our computer or information systems by preserving the integrity, availability, and confidentiality of our system resources. So those are our keywords. And of course, along the way, we are going to focus on this, because if an information system is not secure, if we break its availability, its confidentiality and integrity, if these have been hacked into, if these have been violated, then that is when digital forensics comes in to ensure that we provide evidence. And so looking at RegShot by end of this class, we will be able to see how we test for integrity. Remember, it is one of the core requisitions that are needed by the attorney based on our previous chapter. The magistrates in court will need you to provide evidence. How did you know that actually a hacker attacked your network? It's just like asking, if you go to the police, what was the evidence that someone actually stole your phone? What if it's you who stole it yourself? Where is the evidence? What can we see as evidence that is missing? And that's why we always test for the integrity, that no one or someone tampered with the system after you went. And we encourage you as IT experts, by the time you finish, when you finish the day's work, take a shot. When you make a shot, you save it. The next day you come, first thing, it takes about just a few minutes, we will see. Thereafter, take a second one and compare. From where we left our work till today in the morning, what else has been done? You will check and see who are those that are not actually authentic users that have accessed the system. Then that's when you will know that yes, integrity has actually been violated. And those are the key core components of an information system for it to be secure. Okay. What is security? It's the quality or state of being secure, being free from danger. And here we can see that every successful organization should have multiple layers of security in place. So if you mention that, yes, I'm secure, what is the evidence? Imagine, look at your house. If you say, I stay in a secure homestead, that means your house has closed windows, doors, you have locks, you have burglar proofings, you may have CCTV, you may have all forms of security, you may even have dogs, you may have armed guards. That is what will tell you that you're secure. So for an information system to be secure, it should have all these 6 forms of security. One is the physical security. That is the objects, the items, the computers, the servers are accessed by the rightful users. And they are free from any unauthorized access to masqueraders or people who are coming to misuse the system. That is physical security. When you know at least there are burglar proofings, there is a scurry at the front of the desks that asks what is your ID, or even any kind of form of identification into the system. That is part of physical security. What about personal security? How can we trace that Anna has accessed the system, Sharon has accessed the system, Sludge, Herbert, Norbert? You must have some personal identification mechanisms. And some of these involve like using biometrics, using your ID. Those are personal. That is what identifies you. Your fingerprints, your iris, all those are part of our personal security. Operational security. Here you'd want to be very particular about the kinds of activities. Who actually does the marking of exams, the setting of exams if you're a student? Or do you have a lecturer who is sitting for student exams? That is part of operational security. Who does one particular work? You send your username and password to a friend or a colleague and say, please attempt my exam. Please do for me this work. They will not be able to trace and know who has done this. No, operational security helps in protecting the details of a particular operation, and one can be able to track on who is given what role. And of course, operations should be in line with your job roles and responsibilities. Your communication security. Who has access to the media in your organization, the technology, as well as the content? For example, look at the website. Who has access to making changes? Can anyone log in and just make changes? No. There must be access rights, and there are particular people who are given access to. That is their key core job role, to secure the communications platform. Next is our network security. Anything to involve the internet connections and components. Who has access to them, from the server room to your wireless internet, wired internet? We are very interested in finding out who had access to our network. Information security is where we exactly lie, and that is what digital forensics comes in to handle. We want to make sure that we protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of any information asset, where it's either data or information that you have, whether it is stored or in process or in transmission. You'd want to make sure that you're having data being transferred from one person to another in a secure environment. And so we'll mainly focus on F, which is information security, and that is what we want to look at on our key core components. Here, remember, we've said the core components are protecting our resources in terms of their confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And that's why we set up necessary tools, which are the policies. Policies are a list of, it's a document, 1-2 pages, not so many, that give us the do's and don'ts. They give us the roles of what we need to do as different users. What are we supposed to eat in front of computers, or not come with water near computers because of the nature of gadgets? So many rules, and we will see how do you classify them so that you get people aware about them, train the people on them, educate the different users in the community, and also avail them with the necessary technology. If it's phones, tablets, laptops, desktops, we encourage more desktops in organizations. We reserve laptops for presentations because of the portability. If you have desktops, those ones can hardly be stolen. While laptops are easily stolen and vandalized, so make sure you have the necessary tools that are available. Of course, the protection of this information is very important. Hardware, software, wherever it's stored is key. And as you transmit this information, we need to ensure that the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of hardware, software, whatever useful information one has is extremely important. So we look at our triangle of our CIA and expand on it in detail. We'll define what each of them are. So these are the key core components for any secure information system. Looking at the lens, from the lens of information security, where we exactly lie here, We want to look and see what does it entail. It entails 3 key areas. One is management of information security, then data and communication security, and our network security. What cuts across what is common in all these 3 key forms of security? It's nothing than our policies. Your policies must be as comprehensive enough to take care of all types of security, such that it's only the rightful users that are allowed to have access to the systems, use the computers, not someone who's passing by the university and say, oh, let me pass by, understand you have about some computers in the lab. I was just passing by and I said, let me do my assignment. Are you a university student? No, I was just passing by town. I said, since the institution has enough computers, not everyone should be able to access it. So there are policies that guide us right from the physical security all the way to the data and computer security. We want to look at the 7 characteristics of information. One, we've seen that information is very important and it must be protected and kept in a very secure way. And that's why we are saying that for it to be available, that information should only be accessed by people or computer systems that are known or that are authorized by the system. If your ID represents our institution, then you should go ahead and avail yourself to the system. Look at how you're accessing your notes over the learning management system. You must be a student who is enrolled, who has paid fees, who is known to the system, not someone passing by and say, oh, by the way, I can just log on and I access something.ac.ug and then you have access to it. No, because just go to Google and type in any institution, because National Council allowed people to do have access to e-learning now and we're accredited. So you find that you would want to ensure that all the users can have access to it wherever they are. Availability, we can only track the rightful students. And I will encourage you, by a show of hands online, how many of you have yet enrolled into our learning system? I've already put up videos there. I want to just see. Yes, Heather, Ronald, Raymond, who has yet? Put up your hands and see. Clarissa. Okay, I see we have some that have enrolled. Hamis, Hope. Wait, Edwin, okay. Abraham, okay, please go and enroll into digital forensic investigation. I will type the passcode, the login key, which is our enrollment key in capital letters and our course code. So that is what, are you done? Okay, have a good day. So that is our enrollment key for those who haven't. Kindly go ahead and do it. We will have our tests on it such that we are able to see that we are using both our physical as well as our virtual, and our exams will be face to face. So if the system is available to you, make sure you use it. And we're saying systems are only available to persons and computer systems that are authorized users. And that's what availability means. If you go to an ATM and you find money is not there or it's not working, that means you're frustrated. It's not available to me for use. Accuracy. Information has accuracy, or it's accurate when it's free from mistakes, free from errors. Then that's when we know that, yes, we can trust that system. Authentication. You must make yourself known to the system. that it's genuine, information must be genuine. It's original, rather than just fabricating it, it's reproduced, it is copied. And that happens a lot when you're doing online exams. I recently saw an exam, a clip. I will send it to the class and you'll see. There was the last semester, the online exams that were done. There was a student, that did the exam, submitted, and you know they had copied, they had fabricated. And as they had fabricated, and so they found that these people were, I'm just sending it right away, you'll see the clip. This gentleman, his marks, I don't know if he's your classmate, he got 10%. And what was the issue? The person had copied. He had copied, and on copying, they found the level of similarity and deleted. Have you forgotten something? Sorry, I'm having a class. So being able to see that the information that you have has not been fabricated by someone else, that's when we say it's original, it's genuine, and it's authentic. For confidentiality, we're saying that the information that is, or the information that you have should not be disclosed to unauthorized people outside the system. Imagine you have a bank account and people go and broadcast, this is the bank balance of everyone on a particular place. I'll give you an example, submitting of results. To preserve confidentiality of student results, that is why it's advisable for us to only send registration numbers with the marks. Unless if it's the tests, and like for tests and coursework, we just want to see if the students actually have those matching registration numbers, because some students do not register with the rightful registration numbers. So confidentiality is important. Do not just put up people's names there, and this, even if it's a circle, an investment club, do not say so-and-so has this balance. No, confidentiality, you have to disclose this information or non-disclosure of some of these individual information. What is confidential to us? Your NIN. If someone accesses your passport, accesses your NIN, not everyone should have, even your phone number must be confidential. Integrity. Information has integrity. When it's kept as a whole, it is not changed. It is uncorrupted. It is complete. We are going to see by end of this class, how do we use RegShot to be able to test for integrity, because that is the only evidence that we can use. By the way, you can have so many tools, but we'll only just use one. So we can't exhaust all the forensic tools. We are only going to limit ourselves to only one tool that we are going to use. Utility. Information is well utilized when we say that it is useful, it is purposeful. It is important for you, or you find information when it's useful, when it helps you to achieve a particular goal. You're reading and you're going to do an exam. If only the information you're reading is useful to what you're covering, then we would say that yes, it has actually achieved the activity or the characteristic of utility. We have that one of possession. Possession is the same as ownership. Who owns this information? Where did it originate from? Who controls it? Can we write to it? Can we edit it? Can we delete it? All these are file controls that we need to see. And every file must have that control of quality, showing that yes, these are the owners, and we will be able to see and trace any kind of information and see where it originated from, who are the authors, when was it changed. Ownership of information is key, and that's why digital forensic tools help us to pick that information. We want to focus on our core CIA. What do we mean when we say information is confidential? We say it's non-disclosed to the right and authorized people. That is what we term as data confidentiality. So we use two terms to define confidentiality. We use data confidentiality and privacy. These two terms help us in defining what we look at as information being confidential. So data confidentiality ensures the privacy and confidentiality of information is non-disclosed to unauthorized individuals. The second one is privacy, that the information, and this talks about information control. The information that we have is only accessed by the individuals that have access to it, that are authorized. Look at Mweli. Not every institution can log on. No, it's only you who has the username just like families. You don't go outside and you're talking about your problems. Oh, we have this problem. Oh, we have. No one is interested. Keep your family issues to your family. Issues of the generals to the generals. Integrity is equally defined two ways: data integrity and system integrity. In data integrity here, it assures us that information and programs are changed only in a specified and authorized manner. Here we are saying that system integrity also ensures that the system performs its performed functions in an unimpaired manner, in terms of free from any deliberate or inadvertent unauthorized manipulation of that system. And that is the one we are going to test, because the courts of law tell us, and the procedures of digital forensic investigation tell us, that we need to test and provide evidence that yes, the system was hacked into, the system was changed, the system, and there must be evidence that yes, before this is what it was, and now this is what it is, and this is the extent. You compare what you had and what you have now, and be able to see what was deleted. Availability. Availability, we've seen it. It ensures that the system promptly works and provides the service, provides a service to those who are only authorized users. That is the issue of availability. You have a card, you belong to maybe a bank, Absa or Standard Chartered or Stanbic, whichever, go and access money from it because you're the authorized user of it. So those are our key core terminologies. Here we look at briefly just an outline of what our components of information systems are, for those who may have forgotten, because this was covered in first year, first semester, in so many courses. I covered it in system analysis and design. You covered it in foundations to information systems, and you now know it's part and parcel of you. So when we say that you are securing an information system, what is that? It's the personal information. It is the hardware, the networks, the software, the data, the computers, the procedures of an organization. And all of these are within the system security layers, whether it is OSI or whether it is TCP/IP. I know you did networking, so you know all these different layers. Insecure communication. Information is considered insecure when its confidentiality has been broken. Look at what this snooper is doing. The snooper is just listening in. The snooper is listening to what Bob is the sender. What the sender is sharing information with Alice. Alice is our recipient. And you know, there is someone there, there is a hacker somewhere that is listening in. That is an insecure, okay, yes. The slides are on Mwele, please. Go and check. Actually, all of them are there. The recordings so far for chapter 1 and 2 are there. You can get them. Even videos, I've attached videos as well. Even videos for your tutorial that you're going to cover. Every tutorial, its video will be uploaded. Its video will be uploaded. We will practice here. You will go and practice. We will examine. By the time you finish, you should be able to go and do certifications in digital forensics. Okay, someone is complaining about the network. Okay, thank you for confirming that it's on their side. We want to look at the two types of attacks: passive attacks versus active attacks. What is a passive attack? A passive attack is one where an attempt is made to learn or make use of information on a system, but does not affect the system resources. What do we mean? These ones are just snooping, they are eavesdropping, they are monitoring, or even information that is in transit. They are just viewing it. Imagine if someone just logs in and say, I'm just viewing. And what are you viewing? The password. You can just get a paper and write username, password. You're gone. So hackers begin by first viewing, which is our passive. And then after they go to active, where they now decide to say, let us delete, let us edit, let us do whatever vandalism you'd want to carry out on that system. So there are two types of passive attacks. One is release of message content, and the second one is traffic analysis. So under release of message content, here, it's like tapping into someone's conversation. In an electronic email, we tap into your email because we are suspecting. And this is what FBI does with Al-Qaeda, with everyone. Actually, they must be able to snoop on everyone. Ask yourself, why do you have a free email that you don't subscribe and don't pay to? They are doing nothing but giving it to you for free so that they can read all your emails. If you're communicating with Al-Qaeda somewhere, with ISIS, we are planning to do this. That is how FBI is able to snoop and see that, hey, we've just received a release of information that there's going to be a bomb attack in Kampala, so alert them. I don't know for those of you who were there and picked that information. I saw it, it was released by FBI. Rajab, you're asking on two types of attacks. I'm still looking at the attacks. Passive attacks, we are just snooping. We are eavesdropping. That is a passive attack. And we're just looking at the two types of attacks of passive. The first one is by releasing release of message content. Whether it's authorized or unauthorized, I'll give you an example. If there is a couple, a husband and wife, and maybe they are having a misunderstanding, they're about to get a divorce. And so one of them wants to get evidence that one of the person in the relationship was unfaithful. You need evidence. And the only evidence you can get is by seeking for a court order. If it's a wife or a husband, you go to the telecom networks and they will help you to tap and track what the other person is viewing, who they are sharing information with, and their time. It's only with this evidence, digital evidence, that you can present and say, you see, look at their photos, look at the time where they spend their time. This one cannot be my spouse. However, of course, we call for tolerance, and digital investigations of such nature are very high level, and they're allowed by court to only go on. What are we saying? It's one of the ways in which people just tap into people's messages. As security, they do it for whatever reason. Imagine if it's government tapping into opposition's meetings. They tap their messages. I don't know if you've noticed, members of parliament or people who feel they always tap their information. Have you ever seen the kind of phones they carry? They only carry a torch. They carry a torch because they are very insecure. I'll show you briefly a torch here. Let me enable my camera and I show you a torch. An example of a torch. Small item, no internet. Why? You don't want people to tap you. You're worried because you're like, no, they're forever tapping my information. So and so said this. How comes they tapped into it? People are very insecure. So it's one of the passive attacks. People are snooping to see what is your next move? What is your next attack? What is your next plot? And by law, I told you, FBI has given itself, it's the watchdog of the entire internet, watchdog over any security in any country. It's their right for them to tap in whatever network. And they will, as long as it's information for security purposes, whether it's for opposition or even on government or on a country, they must release, they are duty bound to release that information. Look at this illustration. Bob is sending information to Alice. Look at what Drath is doing. Drath is the hacker. He's just listening in. All he's doing is just reading the content. He's a snooper. He's just releasing the messages, reading the messages that Bob is sending. And that's how hackers begin. They first tap into the network, listen in passively, then know what is being said, send similar information or change it to suit whatever they need. The second type of passive attacks is the traffic analysis. Suppose we have a way of masking the content of messages and other information traffic so that the opponents, even if they captured the message, they can't easily be traced or tracked. That is traffic analysis. This is one of the common techniques of masking content or hiding content using encryption. We don't want that information in transit is easily picked. And that is why we always ensure that the information is encrypted, it is securely saved off such that no one can pick it. Passive attackers, two types, releasing of content and also our traffic analysis. This is what Drath is doing. Drath is again just picking the traffic, just to know what is the busy time, how is the schedule, what is the next program. And of course, the aim is to see when are they making payments. I don't know, all these hackers are money oriented. We will see many reasons from our taxonomy. We will see there are several reasons as to why hackers tap into people's information. So for active attackers, those are for passive attackers. Active attackers now, once you've listened in, they now go and carry out an attempt. It's now like snooping. They send someone, go and find out where so-and-so stays. Where do they work? Then they actively come and bring a bomb and blast it in front of you. Or target someone and say they want to poison so-and-so. They go and put the poison there. That now becomes an active attack. When the attempt on that system of that resource has actually been altered, when the operation has taken place, then that is when we say an active attack has now taken place. It involves modifying of this data. It can be data in transit or data that is stored. We have 4 types of active attacks. Number 1 are masquerades. Masqueraders. People are just there masquerading. I'll give you examples. For example, if you lose your phone and it takes you over 1 month to go and get your SIM card back, that means in that 1 month, the thief can actually act as a masquerade, that it's you. And even if they trace the thief, the names will come back in your names because the SIM card was registered with your names. They're masquerading. They go do some theft, do mobile money theft from your family and friends and tell them, oh, Raymond is in trouble, so-and-so needs money. And when we see such a message, we are so scared. We're like, oh my God. Those are masquerades. And I tell you, when you have masquerades who are requesting for money or are fraudsters, don't be in a hurry to send people money. Look at the numbers and see if they correspond to what you know. Call them, talk to them. Do not just send money like that. Those are always masqueraders. A replay, we will see. In a replay, here, Draft tracks and says, Bob is sending a message about paying of salaries. He goes and replays the message and says, instead of sending 1 salary, 1 payment, the person receives 2, 3, 4 payments in error. That is a replay. So when Alice looks at the email, it will be like, this is Bob's message. This is the way he types. But why? Draft has been listening in and now goes and replays the message. Number 3 is modification. You go and send, something, so-and-so's account has maybe 10 million. You go and delete the last 0. What do you wake up and find? You find a balance of 1 million on your account. You're like, who took away the 9 million? I'm telling you, that kind of modification is dangerous. If it is 100 million on your account, they take away the last 0, you only find 10 million. Modifying a message is it's a very big active crime. And the final one is denial of service. That is the big one. After you've masqueraded, you've replayed, you've modified, now you say, something, let's finally even take over the username and change the password. I don't know if you've ever seen people, they hack into their emails, even get their passwords, even change them, that you find that, someone is using your email to go and use it to solicit for money. Those are denying you from accessing your service. You have to send an email to either Google, whichever you are. You go to Google and ask it for the email address of the hosts of Google. Explain yourself, send your email and mention to them how someone is using it, and thereafter they will get you back. They will send you a reactivation key, ask you for security codes, and you will be good to go. So let's first look at masquerades. Masquerades, these take place when one entity pretends to be a different entity. I gave you an example of an ID, a NIN, or even your cards. People even have the energy. And that's why you see these days, people's cards or NINs are being tracked seriously by all governments. The other day I was reading news about Ghana, and I see Ghana has one of the most secure national IDs that now internationally it has been recognized to work as equivalent as their passport. And I was saying, wow, that's where Uganda should head to. That can only be achieved if we integrate all our systems. All your hospital data is there. Your bank details are there. We can trace if someone is a fraudster. Your SIM card is there. So that, and we are heading there. In the next few years, I'm so sure we will be having that also working. So far with your NIN, within East Africa, you can be able to fly. You don't need to have a passport. But for it to be recognized internationally is a very big milestone. So people can masquerade, look at Drath. After Drath had listened in, now Drath sends a message to Alice and says it's from Bob. And I'm telling you, Alice rushes quickly, makes payment to a stranger who they don't know. That makes it very tough. Just a moment. So that's what Drath does. They act as a masquerade, and before you know it, you find Alice making double payments or payments people she doesn't know, because Drath has taken over the role of Bob and is masquerading. Replays. Go, then you come back. Replay. It involves the passive person or individual to capture the data unit and its subsequent retransmission, and it's to produce an unauthorized effect. Look at an example here of a replay. Drath was listening in when Bob was sending a message. What does Drath do? He just goes and plays the same message, changes one or few things. Alice feels that, my boss has actually sent another email. So Drath captures a message from Bob to Alice and later sends a replay of the same message. It's just like if you send mobile money twice to the same person for one activity. That's why you need to always keep tracking your balance, whether it's on your account, whether it's on mobile money, always track your balances, even your data and airtime. The third one is modification. And all these break integrity. In modifying, you just pick a portion of the rightful message, a legitimate message. Go and change it and just change some one word. The one I was telling you how you just go and delete the last zero from a balance. If it's 100,000, delete a zero. You remain with 10,000. 90,000 is gone. So in modifying a message, for example, allow Ronald to read confidential file passwords or accounts. It can be modified to allow Shamim to read confidential file accounts. I'm telling you, they can even change Ronald to Shamim, accounts to passwords. Before you know it, you have access to a stranger, to all usernames and passwords of an account, yet they are actually just modified that message. That's what Drath in this case has done. Fix Bob's message, changes 1, 2 words before it arrives to Alice, and I'm telling you, what is transmitted, it appears it's from Bob, yet he tapped into it in transit, changed it, and it went. And that's why we say you must always encrypt information. An email, usually encrypts. Check your emails, Gmail, or even whatever email. They have a natural encryption at the back end. So someone cannot tap into an email until it has arrived. So you either have to give someone a username and password, but there's no way they can tap into your email when it is in transit. The fourth one is denial of services. After one has logged in, now they decide to block you from totally accessing this information. This attack may have a specific target. For example, an entity may suppress all messages directed to a particular destination. And you block and say, block people from having access to their accounts. Why are you doing that? And they're saying here it's only when you carry out a system audit check that you're able to check what has been changed. And by the way, we will cover, there's a chapter on system audits. You're basically confirming who did what, who disrupted the network, who cut it off. Look at what Drath has done in this case. Drath went and now logged in and sent several messages to the server to keep it busy. Usually we use what we call zombies. Zombies, or they call them as bots, or they call them demons, to carry out a denial of service attack. They make the server busy. Every time you want to access it, sorry, it's busy, sorry, it's busy. And it goes on and on and on and on. Before you know it, Bob is trying to access the server. Sorry, the network is down. Sorry, the network is down. And that becomes extremely very difficult for people to go with. Okay. Yes, we've seen that those are the two main categories of attacks, the passive and the active. We shall later add in the inside and outside, because we see that over 90% of attacks actually come through what? Outside attacks usually come through from the insiders. Outsiders, 10%. Insiders are the ones who give access to the usernames and passwords to the others to disturb and prevent access. So in forensics, we need to ensure that we should detect this kind of attacks and carry out recovery where possible, so that any information that is lost is recovered. These are different ways in which they defend a system or a critical information, which is the data stack, which is in the white circle. This is our critical. Right in the middle is where we have our mission critical system. If it's an accounting system of a university, how do we trace that students have actually made payments here? As for government, payments are done to URS account. How do you protect it? Using data stacks, application stacks, server stacks, network stacks, physical stacks, policies, procedures, and awareness, because it's the first level. First, raise awareness. Do not do this, do not do the other. Do not attempt this. Try this and the other. So this was an olden way in which they used to protect mission critical systems. We will be able to see in the next slide what is the now current modern way. And that's why you see we have a lot of intrusion detection, because the ways have become so sophisticated. Right at the bottom in the middle, we have our mission critical asset. And in this mission critical asset, we want to make sure that it is safe, it's secure. That's why we have, look at the middle, let me just annotate through. This critical system, and just label it X here. So we start with the prevention, because prevention is better than cure. First, tell us the do's and don'ts, the policies. So policy management is very key. So that if we told you, why do we do forensic investigation? We carry out forensic investigation when we want to discover the truth that actually a particular policy has been violated, and we need to submit evidence. Next are operations. We need to monitor and respond to what is happening. And here I'm talking about several other tools that you can use in monitoring any network. Data security is important, followed by application security, endpoint security, network security, perimeter security, that's the physical, and cards and all of that. Then backups. Backups are where you save your work now to either public cloud like Google, or a private cloud where you pay for also space on Google. The public cloud is free. A private cloud is not free. You have to pay for that space. And that's why you see the public clouds are usually limited in size, because they are free. You want more space, please pay. And of course, who are you trying to get or protect the institution from? This is the outsider here. This outsider is the hacker who's tormenting the organization to have access to a mission critical system. However, they should find that when they want to steal, they pass through all kinds of layer 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't make it easy for a thief to just open the window, pick your laptops. No. Where you keep the laptops are very important. Not on the tables. Where do you charge your phones? Make it hard for the thief to even get through burglar proofing first. The door locks, in case someone was in the house, change the door locks. What is new what is trending in the ways in which we preserve our mission critical systems? That's the data down here. Backups, we've seen. User training is important. Monitoring, encryption, access management to see who can access what and when and where. Updates, upgrades, antiviruses, spam filters, just to make sure that the hackers keep away. Strange emails keep away. Firewalls, all those help us in intrusion detection and sieving of those wrongful packets. Vulnerabilities and attacks. We've seen that it's CIA. If we can protect information or information resources, make them confidential, make them available, make them have integrity to the rightful users, then we shall have achieved our security. Information is, we lose the integrity of information when it's corrupted. When you change, when you edit, as we shall be able to see as we use RegShots. And there's so many other tools I've told you. For confidentiality, information is leaked. I don't know if you've ever seen some letters. A letter is supposed to go from the prime minister to the president or president to a prime minister. However you find it on WhatsApp, that means there is someone who leaked this message to the entire world. Look at the way the UBC gentleman leaked that up, the video of the prime minister. He was doing his work. He didn't have an obligation. Me and you didn't need to know how the prime minister's chair was soon throwing her down. And you know, people were there. And the lady was struggling. She was soon falling down out of the chair. That is breach of confidentiality. And so when you're working in any organization, as a security expert, your work is to preliminarily ensure that whatever information you're given to must be available to the rightful users, confidentially kept by only the necessary levels of users, and it should not be corrupted. In terms of, it should have its high level form of integrity. On a daily basis, attacks we've mentioned can be in 4 types. Passive, we've seen, those are eavesdroppers. Those are snoopers. And you know, for them, all they do is just log in and listen. The active attackers now attempt to actually changing the system. And that's where we say it affects their operations. Outside attackers, inside attackers. Inside attackers are employees, people who are allowed to walk and work inside the perimeters of the organization. Those are employees. Outsiders are people who are outside. They are unauthorized, but yet they can get in online. We have 3 main countermeasures or ways in which we can deal with this kind of insecurity. The very first one is prevention, just like what they will tell you. Look at COVID. Why were we going in the lockdowns? To prevent the spread, to curb it down. Number 2, if we can't prevent it, then let us detect that yes, a thief came and did this. Someone has COVID, and finally recover. If someone is sick, the person is detected, yes, they're positive, then quarantine them or take to hospital if you find that their lungs are having problems and they can't breathe. That is the recovery component. So these are the 3 countermeasure ways in which we make sure that information that we have is always secure. It may result in new vulnerabilities, it's okay, and that's why we say it is continuous. You can't say, I've already checked today morning, afternoon check again for integrity, evening check again before you go to sleep. At any one time, you're the watchdog of the organization. If you have software which does it for you, so much the better, and you look at the report. The goal here is to minimize, reduce the risks of given constraints, the given challenges that will come when you're not able to. It's just like how they're saying to minimize the risks of COVID and death, go for a vaccine. That is on the minimizing side. Threat consequences. Unauthorized disclosure is one of the consequences when we breach confidentiality. When we breach integrity, we will have the deception. And hence when we have masqueraders, falsification, repudiation, these mean exactly one and the same. Repudiation means masquerading, it means falsification. The first one, when you are unauthorized disclosure, that is confidentiality that you're breaking. Exposure to wrong people, interception, interference, intrusion. And that is when you see, for confidentiality, that is when intrusion detection comes in. Forensics come in to look at the integrity. Disruptions or corruption deals with integrity still. Incapacitation, corruption, obstruction. We went to a server, deleted a whole payroll using a particular virus. That is disruption. Usurpation is the same as misuse, misappropriation. Yes, that one caters for the availability. In any secure environment, this diagram shows us two computer systems sending information from one person A to another person B. Let us look at what are some of the key core things we need to consider. Number one, you should know who has access to the data because it should be in a controlled environment. How do you log in to that portal, into that website, into Mwele, to the LMS? How do you log onto your email? How did they pick that information? How do you log onto your phone? What about your laptop or your desktop? Access to big data must be controlled or protected. Number two, the access of this computer facility must be controlled. Because I tell you, when you're going to do forensics, it is the hard disk, it's the entire computer. And that's why we said when you're going to do forensic investigation, we need the right blocker to help us freeze that whole entire process, that no one can change anything on that hard disk until you've done the forensic imaging in the acquisition process. Number three, data is going to be transmitted, of course, from one network to another. So it must be encrypted such that it is secure along that way. Number four, sensitive files must be secured. And that's why we're saying that file security is equally very, very important, such that the users do not just go requesting for any information and making changes everywhere. No, it's only those who are authorized that are given the mandate to be able to pick this information. Security has different requirements. Remember, security is a non-functional requirement that we saw in system analysis and design. So under requirements, what do you look out for? Let me quickly pick through. Access control. We must have a way in which we track who has a username X and password this. Look at the way the Mwele works or learning management system works. When I log in, it's not what you see. When I log in, I see the notes I can upload. Like now, the test is already there. It's for us to agree on a date and we see when we can have it, but the 4th week would be good. At least by end of the 4th week, we will have been able to cover something substantive. At least we'll have reached halfway of what we're going to cover in this course. So it's very important that for every system, you must have a login to identify someone. That's the authentication process. Is it by biometrics? Is it your iris? Is it your fingerprint? There is a unique way. And that way we want to see that we preserve the information integrity. That yes, only rightful people, first of all, access it. That is for confidentiality. And then we can then now be able to track who has done what in the system. We mentioned that we can also have other requirements of management control, technical management control as well. So in management control, this is where we see issues of audits come in, raising awareness and training, issues of accountability, value for money, certifications, trainings, not training, certifications, accreditations, security assessment, contingency plans come under risk management, plan A, plan B, plan C's. Then the last one here is on technical and management. Those that cut across the technical measures. A moment, let me quickly annotate here. Our technical measures and our management and control procedures. So one which cuts in both ways, we're seeing we have incident response, configuration management, and media protection. These three are very important and they cut across in the requirements that you have. And of course, when you're doing your final year project, we expect you to have requirements after your data collection. You pick out on your functional requirements and your non-functional requirements. OSI architecture has a security number 800, which authorizes and defines for us what we term as security. We term it as a systematic way of defining requirements of security and characteristics of approaches that satisfy them. That is security architecture. These are based on the OSI model, and that's the way these security numbers, what happens, these are meetings at which they approve and say, these are core definitions. And I will tell you, if you're doing anything, any work in security, we don't expect you to get your definitions from elsewhere. No, your definitions must come from these big organizations. It defines security attacks. These are any compromises on the CIA. That's the security and its components. The mechanisms or countermeasures, as we saw, number one is prevention. Then after detection, then recovery. These are the mechanisms in which we should have our security, information system security, work on all its resources. Security services should be used to help in counteracting these attacks. And you know which attacks we saw? Passive, active, inside, as well as our outside attacks. We are winding up in the next 6 slides, so we need your patience. This one just gives us examples of all of them. The grays show the subheadings, and the ones below in blue are the examples. Examples of attackers include hackers, spies, terrorists, corporate raiders, professional criminals, vandalizers, and voyagers. Voyagers are people who are just traveling like nomads. I was just surfing on the internet and I decided to pass by this website. Then I found that, okay, you can actually get free money maybe of free airtime. That is a Voyager. You're going somewhere. You didn't have a plan. You're not strategic for it. You didn't take time to even investigate a lot on it before. You didn't study it well. No. You just bumped into something. Those are Voyagers. So there are all kinds of attackers. We use different kinds of tools to carry out attacks. There are those that are physical attacks, information exchange attacks, user command, scripting languages, autonomous agents, toolkits, distributed toolkits, data taps. Different tools can be used in security. What are the vulnerabilities? These vulnerabilities can come at all levels, at the design level, implementation, or configuration. The actions carried out are equally there. They can probe, scan, flood, authenticate, bypass, spoof, read, copy, write, steal, modify, and delete. There are so many actions that you can choose to carry out when you're modifying. What do they mainly target in any security attacks? It's accounts, the processes, the data, components of a system, the computer itself, networks, interconnections or internetworks. All these are what the hackers target on. Next, unauthorized results. As an effect of hackers breaking into a system, they have unauthorized access to all kinds of information. And here we see that there's increased access. That is one of the unauthorized results. We also have a disclosure of information. We have corruption of information. So these are part of the things that unauthorized users can do. Look at the last one here of objectives. In objectives, the aim is to see that what is the purpose of carrying out these attacks. Attacks are carried out just to challenge themselves, especially for white attackers or white hackers. People who just want to change a status that, yes, do not forget Amos the Great. Do not forget Zizinga, the terrific man. Do not forget Mushemeza, Byron. You know, for different reasons. So that one is just for prestige. Others just to be thrilled that, wow, you can't believe I hacked into Bank of Uganda. Wow, you feel that you have made a name. But in saying that and you go bragging, you know, police can actually carry out a forensic investigation on you and be able to take you on. Financial gains are also part of that. Actually, majority of them are financial gains. Political gains are also there, especially during the political time. Kenya is having the elections are coming up soon, by end of this year. And you will see a number of viruses are going to come in the names of the opponents or the candidates who are campaigning. So these are part of the reasons. Causing damage, all those are reasons as to why attackers would want to vandalize or disturb any network. Next, we want to look at the security trends. There are so many kinds of threats. Remember, they began all the way with the coming of internet. As internet became affordable, I'm telling you, it opened a whole Pandora of a cankerworm of all kinds of viruses. This was a study carried out by FBI. And they are seeing all this kind of, look at where denial of service attacks are. They are one of the most common and they're rising. Actually, if you check in the most recent trends of 2020, 2021, denial of service is the highest one that causes the highest amount of loss in organizations. Computer security losses have also been documented here by a study by FBI in 2006. They found the most common one, or the most common loss that had the highest risk were on virus containers. Unauthorized access to data, laptop and mobile data theft, theft of proprietary information, digital or denial of services, financial fraud, and there's so many others, all the way to exploits, password sniffing, and also exploits of other organization DNS servers. These are the most common security ways of securing our networks. The most common are firewalls. Nearly 100% of those organizations had firewalls. Antivirus software, anti-spy software, server-based access control lists to just track who accesses what and when reports are there, intrusion detection systems, encryption systems, login, username and passwords, intrusion prevention systems, log management software, application level firewalls, forensic tools, all these help in responding or preventing people from accessing these items. Public infrastructure, these work at national level. Specified wireless security systems, endpoint security client software and biometrics. These are the most commonly used ones. What strategies do we have? We mentioned some of them. Number one is having specific policies. Policies which will give you the procedures, tell us the do's and don'ts, tell us the steps on how to do this and the other. Those are the procedures. Implementation and mechanisms is the next one. How does it do it? By prevention, detection, response, and recovery. Correctness or assurance. Does it really work? Can you assure someone that if you put this intrusion detector or firewall, you will prevent different attacks? That is what the assurance or correctness wants to confirm. So in summary, that is what we've been able to look at. And don't forget what our core of this chapter was. What are the core components of security, computer security, information security? And that's when we look at confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Okay, so kindly keep online. I would want to take us to our tutorial. So in our tutorial, we want to go ahead and look specifically at how do we test for integrity? How can we test that, yes, this and this has actually failed the integrity test? Okay, So let me quickly come and share with you. The volume is very little, and I encourage you to listen.
Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we are going to learn about the registry analysis. So for that purpose, we have to download a software called Redshot to maintain the integrity of the system.
Okay.
Let's open the browser.
So to maintain the integrity of a system, we will download a software called Redshot. Let me first freeze it there. So if you're on your laptops, you open up a Google form, and in Google, you will be able to type in Redshot, R-E-G-S-H-O-T. This should allow and give us the different forms of downloads of it. The one we pick is the Redshot download from sourceforge.net, this one. As it downloads, let's still play ahead and see.
Sourceforge.net. And you will land upon the Redshot website.
So you should be able to see this kind of interface. Should be able to see this kind of interface that has Redshot when you're downloading it. Let me check on mine, okay? So far this week, there are 2,355 downloads only this week. So I download it as well. So you'll find that Redshot comes through in all forms. It's a zipped folder. So I want to go to that zipped folder. Well. Okay. Sorry, all that is doing is just downloading it and bringing it to the desktop. So he's extracting it onto the desktop. Okay. Let me quickly go through it on our side. So on our side, we've downloaded it. Let me. We've downloaded it. Let me come and I take you to the desktop. Yes, please. You want to ask? So we've downloaded it. It's somewhere on the desktop. I search for RegShot. It's here 1.9.0. You should be able to have a screen like this. In it, you're able to see RegShot x64 ANSI.exe. For old computers, you'll click x64. I attached two links of two sets of videos of RegShot, its importance, and how it's actually also installed and used. We are going to do it here. So to install it, we click the very first one. We follow through. Do you want to allow this app? Yes. All right. Immediately at this point, we need to see where do we want to make our path? Where do we want to save this, go to the, let me see. I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing. I want it to go and create for me. You can create a new folder on your desktop. You click these three buttons. Are you seeing? Let's first start from up here. We have plain text, HTML, document. How do you want your logs to appear? Because we are tracking our information, and our own is to see, we want to track all that has been deleted on this computer. Or track, and we're testing for integrity, not only deleting, but all kinds of modifications. So we need to first take the first shot, but the first shot needs to be saved somewhere. You aren't seeing. Okay, let me share the screen again. Okay, are you seeing the little small screen? Joram, here Tuliwa. Joram, we are here. We are only installing RegShot. So this is the small screen that we are going through. Thank you very much, Edwin and Clarissa. So we are just looking, do you want your output to be in plain text or in HTML format? You want to keep it in plain text. So it appears as a .txt in Notepad. Down here, we see output path. You click these three. Amos. You click these three dots. These three dots will help us to identify where do you want to save it. So mine, I've already created a folder I called RegShots so that I can have all my shots within there. Or you can make a new folder on the desktop, somewhere you actually want to capture that shot. Okay? So I've put my destination and I can see it's on C drive, user, Dell, desktop, RegShot. So I click first shot, under it you'll see shoot and save. So it's processing and carrying out. You'll see the numbers here. It's counting the number of keys, the number of values, and the time it's taking. So I allow it. Please kindly take your first shot and save it somewhere. Let me go back and I share with you. Let me go back and share with you our video clip so that we can follow up on it. It's just a tutorial. It makes it easy. And of course, it's being recorded. Madam, you left us behind. Levi, where did I leave you? We've not gone far. All we've done is just download. We went to Google, we typed in Rakeshot, we extracted the file. Okay, so I see this one is now saying it's ready for me to save it somewhere. So I need to go to that my folder, Rakeshot. I created a folder, Rakeshot. And I call it maybe short, today's date 17.02.2022. The time, .13, that's the time, hours. Okay. So it is saving. As it saves, I want to take us through, I don't know, are you seeing our screen?
Let's open this.
I request for the recording because some of us will install it later. I've even sent you videos, please.
So there are
So you're going to get them. So all he's just doing, he is extracting, he installed it. He is now opening it.
Let me select the output.
See the output first where he's going to keep it. He has selected where he wants to have it in this tutorial.
Let's take the first shot.
Takes the first shot, shoot and save. Yes, it's recording the slides, it's recording the video clip as well. So you must practice it. And even when we begin class, we will tell you to come with your laptops and you do it.
So we have to maintain for that purpose we are going to use
the focus. Okay, let me see. Levi is asking if it can take us back. Okay, let me take it back.
Let's open.
So we've opened a browser. We've typed in Rakeshot. REGSHOT.
You will land upon the Rakeshot website. So this is a Rakeshot website and there is a software. Let's download it. Download. Your download will start shortly.
So saving it, goes in downloads, but he goes and brings it to the desktop because he wants to extract it to open.
Okay, let's extract those files. Okay. So here is the
That's the extracted folder that has the items to install of Rakeshot now. So you open it and select the one which is ANSI, those last four. We don't open the Unicode, it's the ANSIs. We use ANSI. If it's a very old computer you're using, it's x86. If it's the recent new ones, then it's x64, ANSI.exe. It opens directly here in this form. At this point in time, he's looking at what outputs. Should your outputs appear as your comparisons of your logs, as text or as HTML documents? Important still, you need to go and pick the location. Where do you want this shot to be saved? So you need to go and create a folder on your desktop so that you don't lose it. You can make a new folder, name it something, maybe RegShot. Remember, we have 10 such tutorials that we will be doing, at least one every class, or some classes even 2, because we can't just learn theory without getting some tutorial. Okay. Once we know where we are going to save it, we now click first shot. Then we select save, shoot, and save. Then it will run, that's its values and its output. So that is where we are.
Before taking the shot, let me select the output path.
Okay. Selecting the output here.
Let's select desktop.
Class, I don't know how many of you are installing, how many of you are following through?
It allows the investigating officer to quickly take a snapshot of the registry and then compare it with the second one.
Okay.
When you are doing any live investigation of the computer, says from.
Hamis, go ahead, please. Okay, you're done with the first shot. I'm also done with the first shot. Okay, so let us now go to the next one. So our first shot is ready. Let me share with you what we see. Yes, there is one for Mac, there are those for Linux. Michael, go to Google and ask RegShot for Mac. It will give you the RegShot for Mac. Okay, so if you finish your first shot, you should have this kind of little screen output like mine. I'm done with the first one, so I click the second one. Second shot, of course, I'm saving it in the same place. It's running, it takes a bit of time. Then I go to the video. Okay. So let me stop sharing, then I go back and pick. The video and they proceed on because for them theirs is very quick. Oh, by the way, before we take our second shot, we needed to have made some changes. My God.
So we have to maintain integrity.
Because if we are to maintain integrity, we may have needed to go to maybe the desktop. Let me go to the desktop and maybe any of the files, delete something. Any file that I don't think is important. Please don't save the second shot because we hadn't yet, because what is it going to compare? What have you done? So we go to that, go to any file. Let me go to, let me share with you. So for me, I'm going to any file like this. I've gone to something and I'm going to, I've picked 3 documents and I say delete. I press delete. Okay, so that shows that at least I've done some changes somewhere. So now after after making those changes, it's now when I need to go and run. Oh, my second shot, my God, it has already gone. Since it had already gone, let me just compare and see if it picks anything. But at least I know if it doesn't, that means it's because I hadn't yet made any changes. So the comparison, I'm waiting to see what kind of output it's going to have. It takes a bit of time. So I want to go back. I want to go back to our video so that we see how far we've gone. So he has created shot one, he's saving it on the desktop. So now before he does a second shot, he wants to go and look for a particular file also and delete some things. Because it's the integrity, is there something that was deleted? Imagine you carry out the first shot at night. In the morning, you come back, you take another shot and you compare. That's what it is. To see the level of integrity. Has anything gone unmodified? That's what integrity's focus is all about. So here he's just deleting some files.
Now we are ready to take second shot. We have
After deleting, now he goes and runs the second one. But here he just wants to make sure that he has hidden. He wants to go to the file folder and make sure that if there are any files which are deleted, they should be seen. Which is really not that important. Take a second shot. So shoot and save. I want to see how far mine has gone. Mine is very slow. It may take a bit of time, but it's okay. I'm patient, I'm here, I'm not in a hurry. Do we have someone whose reg shot has given us a final output? So let me share the screen as well, because theirs is quite short. They will soon get the output.
Double click it and it will run easily. But the older version of Windows often have some trouble.
When you're done, he has clicked now compare.
It shot may have run into errors if you are running something like Windows XP. Let's save this shot to.
So
okay.
Shot 2, then he compares.
The output of the second shot.
Let me follow through the questions.
Let's compare it.
Amis, yes, the output is in Notepad. That is true.
You have to maintain the integrity of the system. That thing has to.
Hamis, do you want to share with us your screen? Let me stop sharing mine.
You have done it.
The moment I get also an output here, Hamis, can you share your screen? It's one Notepad and you'll see deleted this, deleted number of keys, this, deleted this.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes, please.
Using a phone for Zoom and using the output.
Okay, it can't allow you because you're using a different OS. Okay, no problem. I want to see if there is someone whose reg shot is complete. Otherwise, I'm very keen on going on with this tutorial.
Changes, you have to show to the
Let me share with
what
you.
tool you have used, and if you have changed something,
It is running quickly. Let me
by showing the second and first
share.
comparison. Okay. So this is to maintain integrity of the system. So it is the output file of
Oopsie.
the comparison.
Let me first wait and show you what they now have here. Oh, I don't know. Are you able to see the screen? I don't remember clicking. Okay, it's here. Let me see. Share screen. There we go. This is the output. He deleted 6 folders, 6 files. Up here, I can see the keys deleted are 6. The keys added are 8. The value added is 10. You keep scrolling down and you see the location. The location, the kind of software, it's Microsoft Windows. They try to give you as much location of where they deleted the information. There are so many lines of code.
Which we have changed in our Windows C.
This one, he had hidden also some files. He also went and he sees that they have found them.
And in that software,
So it's able to detect everything. I'm telling you every time I run mine, because I also have viruses running in the background. So when I delete, it deletes so many. I just hope my reg shot will
Explorer.
be able to.
So here we have the hide file extension, which is the last digit. So
Why he's going through all of this? Because for him, he hid several files. And when you're hiding, he's looking for a particular file extension that he hid. It was from 1, now he has turned it to 0. He wants to go and see if it picked up on it.
So the checkbox has to be unchecked, the hide file extension.
So he needs to go back and unhide it. We didn't do anything like that.
Check now.
All it does is checking for integrity.
One goal in mind.
It's checking to see if what it had here.
In Windows registry. Thank you.
Okay, for him, he's done. Okay. I don't know. Do we have someone who has a final output? My output is here. There we go. Let me share with you. My output is here. It's here and it tells me this is the version, RegShot 1.9.0, x64 ANSI, that day's date, okay. Type of computer, it's a Dell. Values deleted, 1. Values added, 2. Modified were 87. I scroll down. These are in hexadecimal. And you'll see analysis when you analyze your results. This is what you mainly expect to see and find. So that is it. Total number of changes, 90 changes in my own. So different computers will show you different changes depending on what you deleted. So this is an example of an output. So this is the file I need to save. So I save as, then I will put it in the folder where I can actually pick it. I say evidence. Evidence of RegShot integrity check. Because it's this evidence I need to give them and say, you know something, before we slept, this is how we saved and what we had. Now see, 90 items have actually been changed as evidence. Okay, I'm actually done, Rajab. And so in 30 minutes, you've alerted me you have another class. Thank you very much for being patient. We will see you next week, same time. May God bless you. Bye-bye.